Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 10 of the world famous Roy G. Biv podcast, Proper Modulation, featuring your hosts, Kurimanju, hey now, and a man who is scheduled to be rebuilt faster and stronger by science, Cheapy D.
I'm not broken. I don't need to be rebuilt. Everything's functioning. I feel like I'm better put together than most in all ways. Oh, not because that I'm so great. It's just that other people are a mess. The bar is set so low in just everything, especially in this country, it seems.
But listen, you're focusing on the wrong part of that introduction. You are about to be enhanced by biotechnology, my friend.
I'm down for that.
To be better treated for this world, my friends, my fellow cheap-ass gamers, our dear leader has scheduled his vaccination. Huzzah!
Oh, yes.
I'm brimming with excitement and happiness for my good friend.
Well, I gotta say, like, I came out saying that getting a vaccination was harder than getting a PS5, but the reality is that it's not. It was easier.
Exactly.
I didn't even have to spend that much time like refreshing or anything. Like once I realized that it was so much work to fill out, like keep filling out the form over and over again to see what the appointments are available.
Right.
I just said, I'm just going to wait. We're just going to wait until like we hear something. Right. And then I saw like a tweet saying that there was so many appointments available at the Javits Center. You know, that's on the west side of Manhattan in the big convention center where they have the auto show every year.
Yeah, Jacob Javits Center. I think Ronnie, the limo driver, has been there many a time.
I've been there many a time. I love the Javits Center. It's awesome. It's great, but I don't want to go to the Javits Center to get vaccinated when there's probably a lot of places that are closer. So I just told Mrs. Cheapy, I said, they just released so many appointments at the Javits Center, and she checked the New York State website. And they had appointments like in a lot of other places too, it turned out, that weren't there yesterday. And we just did it at the same time on our phones, both of us, and we both got the same time at the same place, like, half an hour from our house or less.
That's huge, dude. Wait, what was the website you used to get that scheduled? Do you remember it?
It was just I was following TurboVax, and they mentioned about the Javits Center. Like there was just so many appointments about Javits Center.
Right.
And I was like, well, I'm not probably going to go to Javits Center, but, it all worked out.
Well, I'm
happy. So I stand corrected. I was wrong. I said it was harder to get a PS5, but no. This was a lot easier. And I don't know, that says something. I don't know what that says. There's no microprocessors in the virus. See, the people think that they're going to control you with the vaccine, rather.
No.
And there's microchips in there at Bill Gates, but there's a microchip shortage right now. Well, there's a microchip shortage right now, and that's why you can't get a PS5. And so they're certainly not. Well, maybe it's because they're putting them in the vaccines. Probably not.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think he just got a little bit overexcited because he got scheduled so easy, and all of that pent-up anxiety needs to go somewhere. He was expecting to like break his phone because it wasn't working.
Now I can try to get a PS5.
There you go, and get frustrated with that delivery system. But at least you'll be alive to get there, and knowing's half the battle.
Right. I will. I'm not going to get a PS5. I was just kidding. I was a lot more interested in the vaccine, to be honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen, I think the scheduling system in Jersey, I remember me and Mrs. Kurimanju and Mama Kurimanju trying to schedule all three of us and just go. I had to make it a job, like you're filing for unemployment for the cheap-ass gamers out there. You know what I mean? You got to like live on that site until they let you through. And for it to work that quick for you, man, that's great. Because all they told me was, thanks for putting your information here. We will now track you forever. Just kidding. They didn't say that. But there weren't any availability for my my age and health status. Yeah, that's all I got. But the mom's got it. Now the cheap ass has got it. So maybe some of us others can get it. And then we can go and play ping pong IRL. Is that how you say in real life in your world, Cheapy?
That is in the virtual, even in the virtual table tennis world, they refer to IRL ping pong for the real. Like in the 11 table tennis Discord, I have a special color because I play IRL table tennis.
He's an IRL LARPer.
Nerd, big nerd, also big nerd. The same color if you're a big nerd. Green.
I was I was gonna say I was actually competing. I wasn't sure what to say in the beginning because I actually enjoy doing those intros as boring as they are for everybody else. For me, it's like I just play around with that like all day, and I say it to myself because I haven't left my house in a year, so
Right.
it's like a lot of entertainment to do it over and over. And I was thinking, you're actually more coordinated in the VR world than you are IRL because I saw you fall and break yourself playing real life ping pong, but evidently you're not like one of those guys who runs into the wall on the VR ping pong
Well,
headset. And you're like Neo. I mean, is that how long you've been playing video games?
no, I
Sir?
punched the wall. Like I punched the wall with.
I thought that was rage.
No. Each hand, I cut each of my hands in the same game right after each other. Even though I realized, like, the problem was we have the paint in the Japanese room. It's got like that textured paint.
Is that one with the sand?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's not the paint you want to be running your fists into.
Where was Mrs. Cheapy too? Was she like nearby?
No, she was nowhere nearby. But I did show her my fist afterwards, and she's like, "Why are you playing in there?" And what does the wall? And what does the wall look like now? Wall was fine. And I'm not coordinated in VR either. It's just I haven't fallen over yet. And also, there are no cameras watching me. So unlike at Ping Pod.
I need that. Like I need that in my life. Ty, if you're listening, go back to school or wherever you're supposed to be. But before you do, set up a camera, like a GoPro or something. We need the footage. I'm sure you'll get paid. Think of like what's that? Come on, Kellyanne Conway's daughter.
Yeah.
What's her name?
I
don't remember either.
Claudia.
Exactly. She got on to American Idol auditions just from blowing up her mom's spot. So Ty, I mean, do it for the team, bro.
Well,
just get the footage. You send it to me. I'll put it out. Anonymous. Okay?
It's a little different situation, I think. Mrs. Cheapy already made a video of me playing pistol whip.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks very awkward. I didn't fall over, but I just look awkward moving anyway. So it's just a video of me looking awkward with a helmet on. But
I think all of us are jealous. We want to look awkward with one of those helmets, too. It sounds like a lot of fun.
We're still having fun with it. We got the Mrs. Cheapy really wanted to get a boxing game. She keeps asking me for a boxing game, and good news, the premier boxing game on there is $10.
Okay.
And it's called Thrill of the Fight.
Thrill of the Fight.
And it's just very simple. You're just fighting dudes, and you block. You just, you move like this, and that's the game. And you get incredibly tired throwing punches after 2 minutes. You will be surprised on how exhausted you are after just one fight of 6 minutes.
Right.
So yeah, Ty's been doing that. Ty's allowed to play the VR games now because you get good exercise. Like I don't feel bad like wasting hours punching. Like at least he's up and moving around and sweating. Like he's sweating like doing that. Right. That's why I recommend that for people who are having trouble getting motivated to do conventional exercise. Like it's definitely better than nothing by a lot. Like you're sweating and it's an easy way to get a decent sweat going, especially if you're out of shape. You're gonna get extra sweaty, like Kurimanju when we first started playing table tennis together.
Hey now,
like that level of sweating.
That's like I think he might be going into cardiac arrest.
You made me feel like I was in such good shape, so I really appreciated that. That really gave me like the boost that I didn't know I needed.
The bourbon beforehand didn't help either. Well, they got a great bar there. I love the bar at that place. Did I tell you I did my birthday?
It's Spin. It's Spin.
Yeah, in Manhattan. This place, it's a ping pong bar, kind of lounge, kind of club-ish place. I love it, and I was an early adopter. I did my birthday party there one year, and it was a costume party, so I made everybody dress up, and I was Batman, and my wife was Bane. There's nothing more fun than going to your party as Batman, having a buzz on, because you got a cape. You got a mask on, and every time you like go to the subway stairs, the drafts of air would blow up the cape. It was great. I loved it. But going back sucks because you're drunk, you got a cape, and you got a mask on, and that stuff starts to weigh. You're like, oh man, I wish I had a freaking car. I mean, and then people are like, hey Batman, you're like, fuck off.
No, say it like Batman. Say it like Batman.
Oh, that I'm tired.
Where's my car?
No. You got to say
that's Justice League Batman.
That is Justice League Batman, but I was thinking you got to say something more like I like to kill deer or something with that on. Say that.
No. I don't want anybody.
That movie. It's like some Will Ferrell movie, I think.
Oh, I don't know.
I think they used to play it.
I feel like you're trying to set me up, trying to get me to say something wrong and then try to cancel me.
Say I am Q.
Have you been watching that, or it's too early to talk about? Okay, good. We'll talk about that later. No, because we have our TV section later. We're going to talk about it. Our visual entertainment section. We're still in the, I don't know what section we're in now. We're in the section where I try to convince you to buy things. That's like my favorite thing to do. So I'm trying to convince you to buy the VR, the Oculus Rift 2, the $300 one. I've already sold at least 4 or 5 of them. Like no joke, like confirmations from people saying, okay, I bought them because you told me to get it.
I love it. When is the ad coming? When do they pick up and get on board?
Never.
I'm getting tired of talking about this shit. Can we go off record for a second? Is this still on? Give me a second, man. I need a minute.
You only want to talk about it if we're getting paid for?
They didn't say I had to do this much. No.
Who are you, Wombat? Oh, he's in the chat. It must be rubbing off on you.
Wombat? What do you mean? Tell me the Wombat connection. Is it the furry skin or?
No, he likes to.
Is it the half an hour walks?
He enjoys a good sponsor. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, hey now. Well, I could appreciate that. I mean, the man knows what he's doing, right? I mean, listen. It's not a game anymore. Didn't I say that last week?
It's not?
It isn't. It's 22. What time is it?
What?
Where am I?
22?
What?
22 what?
Take hold of this runaway train of a show, Cheapy.
Oh,
Take us to our outline. You said we're on something. What are we at?
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I got into an argument with Mrs. Cheapy about this today, and it's maybe the stupidest thing I've ever got into an argument with. It wasn't really an argument. Let's call it a heated discussion.
Fair warning. I usually take her side. You know that.
I mean, she's usually right, so it doesn't surprise me.
Makes it easy.
But it got surprisingly heated for really about nothing. So a couple of CADcasts ago, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
You're fighting with her about the.
No, she doesn't know. She doesn't know it's about the CADcast. It's irrelevant that it was on the CADcast. This is where I heard of it. Shipwreck mentioned that he saw a person driving down the highway it was like a minivan, like a Dodge minivan that had a Tesla license plate. A vanity license plate that said Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the assumption that this is a person who is either a huge fan of Tesla or Elon Musk, probably both, because often they go hand in hand, but that person aspired to own a Tesla. Like this was their car now, whatever, the Dodge Astro van from 2001, and that they were looking to upgrade at some point to an actual Tesla. But
if you build it, it will come.
But Mrs. Cheapy is taking the side that this person more likely had a Tesla and either had some financial problem and sold the Tesla, or got divorced and had to get rid of it and was in between Teslas, or wasn't necessarily a fan of Elon. Because I feel like that's totally on brand for someone who's like a super fan of Elon Musk to have a car that's not even close to a Tesla in any way and have a Tesla license plate on it.
Okay.
So we're driving around and we're yelling at each other about this because she feels like I'm making assumptions about Tesla fans and or Elon Musk fans when they're not necessarily related. So my question to you is, who's right? Isn't it more likely, usually I go for the Occam's razor thing, where the most likely explanation is probably the true one.
There is? Okay, let's hear it. What's the most likely
one? The most likely
one?
You
both sound like a bunch of freaking
what's your...
If you wanted my answer, I'd say you're both fucking wacko.
Okay.
Get outside separately once a day. Once a day, walk around the neighborhood, okay?
We do that a lot. We do that all the time.
Leave the house. Put the VR helmet down.
We were out of the house. We were out of the house, and we go for walks every day. So my question to you is then, what do you think when you see a Dodge Astro van with a Tesla license plate on it? What's your assumption? What assumptions do you jump to?
I jumped to it's a boosted license plate. They're trying to cover their tracks. They just are about to go to a heist.
That's better.
Back from one.
They stole it off a Tesla. They stole the license plates off a Tesla, is what you're saying. And that'll throw the cops off. They'll be like,
even better. The Tesla was the car that they boosted to get to the heist. While they're doing the heist, the car guy takes the plates off of the Tesla, switches plates with the mommy van, takes the mommy van. That's the getaway car. They drive off to the next car.
Oh, he was in the middle.
He
was in the middle of the heist.
It's mid-heist.
I
mean, it's chances it's on its way to the heist, but that causes more suspicion seeing the mismatched license plates. Meanwhile, APB is out on the high-end Tesla car, right? So the cops, they're not looking for that. They see the plates not matching, but the APB isn't out for the plates. It's out for the car.
Right.
And that is your free heist. DM me if you want some consulting services. Sorry, wrong podcast.
Right. I don't think you can consult on crimes.
That's called conspiracy, I guess.
Right. People in the chat are pointing out that he's possibly a fan of Nikola Tesla. And don't worry, I brought that up during the argument, but people I was still getting yelled at regardless.
Well, I mean, listen, this was in New York. I think that you're probably all wrong. The person who has it is just somebody who's a little bit off their rocker and doesn't realize that they're not driving a Tesla.
Okay. That could be, but if you think it's a Tesla. This is my Tesla. This is my starter Tesla. I'm upgrading it piece by piece. Like
he's making it till he makes it.
I got the Tesla ashtray. I'm putting that first. I'm going with that first. I got the license plate first. That's the cheapest thing, actually, is the license plate.
As a matter of fact, you know what? Actually, I take it back. I'm going to start hating on that guy. The person is either a big fan of it and says, hey, I'll wear it with pride, right? And is a fan. You don't need to have a Tesla license plate on the Tesla car. You got the car. Why have the license plate on the car? That's the bigger fan piece. At this point, they can only afford the license plate. So who picked fans?
Me.
Then I have to say this is like the first time I agree with you, because I was remembering when I was a 13-year-old, I used to keep a list of the things I was going to get, and what I remember is the Gran Turismo Part 4 soundtrack.
Okay.
And I had like worked every day after school. It was, it was brutal, but I had my goals, and I would look at that list like the Winter Soldier. I open my little notebook, and I'd be like, okay, we're doing it for this. And I go back to work, and then I get the stuff off, I buy it, and I cross it off the list. So, hey, maybe that person can live, dream a little bit, extend, and maybe I shouldn't be so negative, Maybe I need to get outside.
I guess we're in agreement, because that was...
I can't believe it.
I look, if you're looking at getting a Tesla, that's the cheapest entry is the license plate. It's probably like $50 to register a vanity plate.
And maybe you get like a shirt or something. People might honk at you and say, hey, it's like a community.
Right. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I mean, to me, I don't do the vanity plate thing because I'm afraid of the one wacko who's triggered.
Of course.
Because the cops used to do that. I mean, we'll get to George Floyd's murder trial. We'll get to that in a second. But I was followed home by the cops all the time. And it just freaked me out. The idea, like, why put a different flag outside my car? Like, give someone else a different excuse to trade, like voting sticker, or like, I don't even like to say, like, I'm a meat eater, or I'm a vegetarian, or I'm just worried about freaks like you two. I mean, people like you two having this argument and then getting pissed, and then you kill the family, and then you find me and you kill me because it was my fault because I had the license plate.
Of course, like I would never put a bumper sticker on my car that said like vote for Bernie, or I love Hillary, or Trump 20 whatever. It's just like, why would you invite people to key your car?
Serious, yeah.
And someone in the chat, Darkness in the chat, asked if I tried to get a GPD license plate, and I thought about it for I thought about it for 1 second, and I was like, why would I want people to know like that's me driving around? Like, what good is going to come of that? Like, hey, look at that asshole. He's going too slow. He's going too fast. He doesn't know how to make a right turn. Oh, it's GPD. Let me just Google him.
That cheap ass. I saw him in that video game. He's got to know Obama. And then like,
right.
Or some crazy crap. Like, I mean.
Something. Yeah. It's just not.
Illuminati, get him.
Nothing good is gonna happen from having a vanity license plate. Really,
I was so thrilled when we started wearing masks, bro. I was like, finally, I can go into this world again with self-confidence where they cannot see me. They know not who I am.
I like wearing the mask for that reason. Just because, not for that reason, but just because I don't know. I feel anonymous just in general. Not that I think people are looking for me from the internet, just in general. Like, I don't want people looking at me, regardless of if I did a podcast or YouTube or anything.
Exactly. It's nice to blend in no matter what.
I only want people looking at me like now when I've had the camera on.
Right.
That makes sense, I feel. I think most people want to be left alone. I don't know. How was your week? How was your week? Anything interesting happen?
Not much, man. A lot on hold with the help desk for my day job, helping clients and stuff. And just trying, like, I would go back and forth between, like, raging out and be like, if you don't get your supervisor right now, I'm going to fucking this. If we lose this account, it's your fight. You know, I really appreciate the time you're putting in because it's not your fault. And obviously, you know, we're learning this together. And
wait, people are yelling at you?
I'm yelling at them.
Oh, you're yelling at them.
I'm going back and forth. They're like, who's this bipolar man? It's me, Kuriman.
Right. You can't be yelling at people.
I didn't yell at them, but I would go back and forth between wanting to lose my my patience, because when when you go past half an hour one, half an hour two goes by. One time it was an hour and a half, and the discrepancy was the person on the line we were miscommunicating as usual, which is often the case in those scenarios, or you're just put on hold forever. And it was miscommunication, and it was like the initial thing I said in the first 15 minutes, and that stuff just makes you want to blow your stack. But I calmed down. I said, we're all locked down. I'm sure that person has a great reason to blow her stack. And then I would go back and say, I just want to thank you for helping, because it's frustrating, as you can hear, and I apologize for if that comes out of my voice, but I appreciate your helping. Hopefully
right.
Get better.
Right.
So it was like my anger management therapy, I guess, kind of like homework exercises, call help desks, go in long lines, get into traffic jams, and see how you handle it.
Right. I avoid all those things. I don't put myself in those situations.
Right. Or go out and like get into a fight with someone about their mask, like Ralph or something.
Right. You don't talk to Ralph if you see Ralph.
Right.
Someone in the chat is complaining that I'm trying to act famous. I'm not acting famous, but I've definitely been stopped for photos in real life like more than 10 times. And I'm not counting like, I guess if I count like E3 and stuff, then a lot more than that. But I'm certainly, like I said, nobody's looking for me, and I'm not looking to be seen. But reality is, I just like, I'm 6'4", and I'm big and bald and white, and people just look at me anywhere I go. And I just I'm not looking for that.
And you're devilishly handsome too. You left that part out.
Well, people can see that. That's just that's just obvious.
That's right.
So,
and dude, I was the one who brought this up. Let's just put a little reality into this. I don't know who the person is in the chat. I can't see the chat. I mean, whatever. But at the same time, when you're out and about, being famous isn't I don't know if that's in anybody's head. Most people
like it. I think a lot of people like crave that and like to be seen in public, and they go out of their way to make themselves more visible. Even the people who are actual celebrities, not like D- internet celebrities, but actual celebrities. Like that they like call up like Page 6, like, hey, I'm going to be eating. Here's a hot tip.
If they're doing it for work, though, if they're in need, that's how they get money. You got to raise the profile. It helps for negotiation.
Sure.
If you got no work, Page 6 is your work.
That makes sense. You
know what I'm saying? Like Nicolas Cage. How many times have you heard about his marriages?
Right. A lot of times. But he's...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You really think that anybody gives a shit?
He needs money. Nicolas Cage is buying a lot of houses and is installing a lot of pools in those houses. He needs money. It makes sense. That makes sense. But also, I think people are narcissists too, in a way, and they like the attention. Anyway,
that's a fantasy. I think in reality, when you're out and about, whether you're a famous person or you're not a famous person, you're thinking about individual people that you're interacting with on that street. And when you want anonymity, it's because you don't want to interact with that person, not fandom, not famedom, just the person on the street. It doesn't matter. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
And it throws you sometimes too. Like it'll throw you.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I was living in Japan, I would have to pick up Ty from school. Like I would walk to his school and pick him up, and we'd walk home. And we're walking home, and Ty's like, I got to go to the bathroom really bad. And we're like, we're just like 5-minute walk from school, no big deal. But somebody noticed the giant white guy that he saw from the YouTube videos. And he's like, hey, I know you. I know you from YouTube, right? Like, oh, I love your videos, right?
You're real cheap. Come on.
He knew me. And we were talking. And he's like, oh, like, it's so great to see you. And like Ty's like literally like about to explode.
Oh, no.
And we wound up like we didn't make it home. We had to like stop in like one of like the public bathrooms somewhere. But we had like, and it's like, yeah, it's like, it was nice to see the guy, but like also it's sometimes you got to go to the bathroom.
Right. Yeah. Oh, poor Ty. Ty, again, man, just get the footage, bro. We'll get you out of there. Get the footage.
He's not on social media, so he's not like looking to create content. You know what I mean?
Just send it to me anonymously, okay?
He's not listening to this, hopefully. He's busy. Should we talk about the big news in New York this week?
Yeah. What is the big news? Tell me. Hey now.
There's a cat behind you.
She heard the burp and said, you know what, I can up you.
She recognized that language.
She said,
she's like, oh, my master is calling me.
She's like, where's that voice coming from?
No, the big news in New York is that they legalized weed like immediately. Now you don't even have to wait. It's immediately legal.
Oh, yes,
for all adults over 21.
Right.
No cap, right? That's what the kids say. No cap.
I think it's 6. You can grow 6 plants per individual, 12 per household, which is
you have more information than I do. Go on.
Well, it's a little bit aggressive as it comes, at least when you compare it to other recreational use states.
I feel like the law that they passed seemed like really progressive compared to other laws. Like they got everything. The left got everything that they wanted basically in this. And like, I know that it was a few passes. They came up with a few pieces of legislation that got shot down, like even last year.
Right.
But because Governor Cuomo's got Me Too'd so many times.
No.
Yes. What do you mean? No, that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
Listen, you and I were joking about this because
I wasn't joking.
We were joking. Well, I was. We were joking about it. You said it only took 10 women to come forward for us to get legal weed, like in New York, because the governor's like trying to find any kind of coverage.
Of course, I'm not kidding at all. That was no joke.
And I said back that, and it only took him to actually do it to 50 women, because if you go by the numbers,
oh, sure,
that's how many it took for the 10 to feel good enough to come forward, because it was going bad, and he keeps doing it, and it's just his pattern. But in reality, I was going to say, he's definitely trying that, but the reality is, obviously, this is my outside opinion. You know how high of opinion I have of my opinion. But
of your high opinion on high things.
Especially when it comes to the high matters of greenery.
Yes.
He has been trying to get it legalized for every single year, and there's been a councilwoman or assemblywoman who has been fighting him on it because the legislation didn't include language that would benefit communities that were typically disserviced and targeted because of marijuana.
Correct.
So she went with it this time. So that's why it aligned. I mean, honestly, I forget the assemblywoman's name. But honestly, if you Google it, you'll see. So listen, I'll say it this way. It is possible for 2 things to happen at the same time and be unrelated. Okay. The fact that he's been doing this repeatedly for other years and it's been fought down seems like evidence. And the cherry on the top, as a geneticist, I'll give you this piece of wisdom.
Yes.
The genetic code, the structure was discovered on 2 sides of the planet at the same time. Unrelated, different research labs. 100 years ago.
Genetic structure for what?
For deoxyribonucleic acid.
Oh.
Or DNA, as some may call it.
Yes.
I'm adjusting my glasses if you can't tell.
Right. Yes. Well, so right. I mean, that's true. That is true that Cuomo's been shooting for it. And I remember that
and he's a perv. That's separate. It's like Matt Gaetz. Gaetz might have been, there might have been an extortion thing, and he paid women to bang him through like what's it called? Apple Pay. So both can happen.
Venmo,
and he's got like terrible style and hair. both happen. Like it's all possible.
And his head is, I feel like his head is too big for his body. Don't you think?
Huge.
He's got like Bill Maher head. He's got like Bill Maher head where he's just like, he's only like 5'6", but his head is really for like a sumo wrestler.
He's even worse. He's got a head like, what was that late night guy with the red hair? Really tall.
Oh, Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien. He's got a head like that guy, but like on a 4'9" or 5'2" guy.
Right. He's a giant, Conan.
And so is Matt Gaetz' head.
Right.
Did you see that tweet? He wanted to be called, he wanted Gaetz Gate to be his like scandal hashtag. Did you see that?
I think he's always high on ecstasy. It's the only explanation is that he's just constantly, he tried ecstasy when he met that woman and he's been on ecstasy the entire time. Actually,
she wasn't a woman. She was a girl. Allegedly.
She was a girl,
Allegedly.
excuse me. Yeah, right.
Allegedly.
Right. No, I feel like if he was on ecstasy this whole time, he'd be a different person. I think he needs. The problem is he's not on enough ecstasy. If you really think about it,
Exactly.
He's just a horrible person, and maybe he would have some empathy actually if he took more ecstasy.
See, okay, here's the question for you, and we're going all over the place, but that's why I like talking with you.
Sure,
you can keep up with my crazy brain.
Yes, I am also crazy.
Hey, no.
And I have a brain.
You have a brain. I was thinking, like, think to yourself, like, so they say that he used to show his congressional colleagues naked pictures of the women he slept with, right? So, like, we all, like, not all, but a lot of guys know some guy who was that jerk. You feel like gross, like you're witnessing a crime somehow. Like he just comes to show you his girlfriend or sometimes his wife. Like, you're like, ugh.
I'm so glad I don't know those people, but go on.
But
I can envision them, though, for sure.
Like, that guy became a congressman. It's just weird and gross and disgusting. And I guess that's probably how Cuomo's accusers feel.
It's right. I'm guessing his head had something to do with his success. Somehow his misshapen head has like put a hex on his voters. And it's like gravity. It's created its own gravity.
It's so dense.
It pulls the voters towards him.
He is so dense. He has his own field of gravity.
Anyway, back to the New York weed legalization. Yeah, so the law is like super generous in terms of like if it's legal now for everybody over 21.
3 ounces, I think, you can have up to 3 ounces.
That's a lot.
You can
for
have
people
up
who
to
don't know.
24 grams of concentrates, I believe, or 26 grams.
That's also a lot. Now that I'm doing math, that's a lot. And I'm guessing like I've never had that much of either, so that's a lot. I've never even come close.
I've never seen that much except for like YouTube videos on how to make rosin.
Right. So that just goes to show you that it's really like a progressive law, and so I'm hoping that when they come up with they've also paved the way for the stores to come, but also I feel like even more importantly is the consumption lounges, or basically bars, because I know in California, even though it's been legal there for a really long time,
right?
I don't know, they've just started getting the lounges there, the bar/lounges. And when I say bar, I don't mean that they're serving alcohol. I mean a place where you can sit and consume weed in whatever form you want.
Also in a more kind of cultured type of environment. I wouldn't say cultured,
any environment,
in the sense that you'll have maybe a bud tender there that can help advise you as to what might fit your experience level or taste for the moment. So not just like
later.
But not like a keg sitting in the middle of a room in chairs, but more of an experience aside from what you might have visions of when you walk through Central Park and sometimes you smell like clouds.
Sure.
I don't know, but maybe it turns into that. Maybe it turns into like Hippiesville. What do you think? Is Manhattan gonna all those conspiracy theories? Is this the QAnon plot coming to a head? Matt Gaetz falling?
No, there's no weed. Well, I don't think there's any weed connection to QAnon at all.
I think there's a lot of weed going on with QAnon. Well, I think those guys are happy about that 26 gram concentrate limit.
Those guys live in Japan, so it's not helping them. Meanwhile, in Japan put out a message to their citizens who are in the United States saying, just a reminder for all you guys who are living in the states where weed is legal, we can prosecute you for this once you come back to Japan. We can prosecute you for consuming weed in a state that's legal once you get back to Japan.
I'm making a prediction.
They don't do that.
I'm predicting that Japan, and I hope I'm not offending anyone.
Yes.
In my family. The rest I could care less, but I don't want my family to be offended.
Okay.
But I'm predicting that Japan will legalize weed before they have a female prime minister and before they outlaw whale hunting in a serious way. So they can take that law and put it where they think they could.
I think you're right about that. Definitely the whale hunting. Probably right about the female.
Or like real maternity leave. Let's start there. Forget about the female prime minister. Let's start there. Let's see if they could elect someone to head off the Olympics who isn't a pervert. Or like doesn't hate women. Let's think of let's make believe a world where their prime minister actually has enough of like maturity and actual respect in the community to not have to not only resign from being a prime minister, but resign from being the head of the Olympics because he's such a scumbag.
Right. He can't even stop himself from saying things which he should know are wrong to say in 2021. But yeah,
Do you remember what he said?
No, what did he say?
Something like women can't run things because they cry too much or they laugh too. Like the 1950s level of you can't say that here, sir. Like it's just so stupid.
Right.
It wasn't like the stuff you expect to happen now, like gender, pronoun mishaps.
Yeah, these guys don't care. They don't know about
insulting or compliments on a skirt. It's not that. It's like 1965 level.
Japan is going to be the last country to have like binary listed on like a form somewhere, like a sex, like trans, any of that stuff. Like they're not even familiar with those terms.
Exactly. We're going to get Japan X before they catch up to the rest of the world. That's what, although Netflix, what do you call it? Yasuke, that samurai film, Black Samurai. Thing. Is it a series or a film? That's coming up. I didn't put it on the outline.
I think it's a series.
That's interesting. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with Japan. I'm sure that's made by
it's a Black Samurai in Japan during the Sengoku Jidai,
right?
The warring stage.
It's probably made by a Western production company.
Yes, it's probably going to be very disappointing. But I like to watch it. No, it might be good. Just kidding.
And it has a chance to not be racist now since it's not made by Japan. Oh, I didn't say that.
At least it has a chance not to be racist. It still might be completely sexist, though.
It could be horrible, also. Wait, I don't feel like we're done talking about New York weed because this was like a big deal.
Will it ever end, dude? What we need to do is plan for a live podcast one day when they open the world. We'll do it at like a really cool lounge.
When they open the world, what?
Not they open the world. When we get our vax shots.
Oh, right.
You're able to go out and about. And
there's a lounge.
Yeah,
it's not going to be a lounge for like a year. They need to still come up with the laws and everything that they haven't written the laws for how to actually sell the weed or have the consumption lounges or any of that stuff. So that's still like a big uphill fight, and they can still fuck it up. Like there's still plenty of room for New York to fuck it up. But the reality,
they're doing that in Jersey, they're screwing it up.
Right. It's all about like if they're willing to look at what the other states did and whether that worked or not.
Right, and it's obvious results. The tax went up, the crime in areas related to drug abuse went down. Alcoholism in teens went down, I think.
There's a lot of ways they can screw it up in terms of defining how the whole system works. Like they could charge too much. I think the tax stuff is already set, actually, and the tax seemed very reasonable. Like if you put too much tax on it, then there's going to be too much black market. You can't have the tax too high. You have to have, and I think it was only like 9% or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get away with it being
25%.
Yeah,
unless
you want no one to come here.
Well, that's what happened in California. Was the tax was super duper high, and then it just made the black market explode. Like the black market was way bigger than the legal market, and you can't. Like that's what's the point of that? If you want to have some regulation and create tax revenue, then you have to make it reasonable and realize that you're not operating in a vacuum.
Right. So exactly.
So hopefully the takeaway is that we need a weed lounge that has a lot of table tennis tables.
Hey now.
That's really, and maybe lasers and black lights.
And major laser.
Major lasers, we can't afford major laser. Major laser's big time.
Shoot big, bro. Maybe he's a cheap ass gamer.
I did get, Diplo is the head of Major Laser. And when he was streaming on Twitch at the beginning of the pandemic, I got him to say cheap ass gamer on stream. And he laughed at the name. And I recorded it and I have it as a sample Well, I could put it into here, but I use it. Well, I can't do it right now, but I use it in my DJ setup. So I push a button and I have Diplo saying, cheap ass gamer. And he giggles like that. And he giggles like that. That was the best.
Sounds like a cool guy.
But he's such a big deal that he stopped streaming on Twitch a long time ago, even though there's the whole pandemic going on, because he doesn't need the money, like whatever. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to make Twitch money, I feel like.
Right. Well, at some point you got to focus your time. It's all time. You know, you can't make more hours in the day. So you do. I don't have any hate for people who have kind of, I don't want to say evolved past certain platforms, but maybe found a better way to reach their audience, or their audience is more comfortable with a different platform. Sometimes that happens over time, you know. And the ones that don't migrate more with enough alacrity are the ones who become less and less relevant over time.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Diplo's relevancy. He seems to be doing all right. He's had a pretty long career. Anyway, let's move on to what we're watching.
What are we watching?
This is the working title of the segment is what are we watching? Needs better title in parentheses. So everyone's been watching the George Floyd trial.
Except for me.
I haven't been watching it.
Oh, you too?
No, I haven't been watching, but you wanted to talk about it.
I have to. Dude, my goddaughter who names me, she lives 5 minutes away from where they murdered him.
Okay.
My family knows the owners of the place where he used to work as a bouncer. They've seen him and met him before.
Sure.
And when all of the riots were happening, I'm like up all night keeping in touch with my family to make sure, not like I can do much, but how do you go to sleep?
Right.
I couldn't.
When there's a riot on their street.
5 minutes away, and you're just hoping that the crowd turns a different direction. And then when they do, it's like, okay, everybody go to sleep, because it lasted for so many days.
Right.
You know?
Sure.
And as we've talked about, my family is Japanese. And so it's not even just the layers of ways that it affected us being a multicultural family, and a family that has such a complex relationship and history with the police in a direct sense, in terms of myself, my mother, you know, and our stories, kind of bringing that to my wife's family's attention, and the evolution of all this kind of hatred and violence in the country. It just, I don't want to be watching this stuff still. I'm sick of this stuff. I'm sick of it back during Rodney King.
Right.
You couldn't find anywhere to turn the TV back then. It was just this over and over and over, you know? And for people who have experienced scary situations with the police late at night, it can feel like it's happening over again.
Sure.
You know?
Of course.
But it's like the first lynching on trial that was televised in America. And how do you not record that, at least witness that at least these lynchings are being tried now? I mean, it's on video. It feels offensive that we need to go through all of this flatulence. It should be the trial that nobody pays attention to because it's obvious. It's on video.
It's going to take 2 hours and be done. Like, here's the sentence. Yeah. And here's the verdict, rather.
It's on video, open, shut. Like, as the supervisors are saying, he didn't have to kill him. The EMTs are saying he was dead when we got there, and we had to tell the police officer to get off of him.
Right.
Because we couldn't try to resuscitate him because the police officer was still kneeling on him while he was dead.
Right. I mean, they better find that fucker guilty, because it's going to be a fucking disaster if they don't.
I measure it by small victories, because I have my people have a long history of being disappointed.
Yeah, I know.
So you got to have the long vision. He may get off. It happens.
I know, but it's not gonna fly this time. Like that, people are not gonna put up with that.
That's gonna be not. I hope they don't. Whatever it is, I hope they don't. You can't have people murder you on video and just, you know. Yeah. But anyway, how have you been experiencing? So I feel like I need to, because I know it affects her life directly. And by this distance, we haven't been able to see family. So I try to just be an uncle for her.
Sure.
My niece, you know, so I want to know what's going on. So if I message her, maybe she caught it that day and she might feel a way about it. You never know.
I just catch like updates on Twitter. I don't have cable TV set up, so I don't.
Yeah, me neither. It's a lifesaver.
Unlike, like, I guess the OJ trial was the big trial that, like, I spent a lot of time watching.
Right.
But, it was cable. It was on cable news 24/7.
Yeah. There was no channel. And that
couldn't
was
avoid
the beginning of cable news, too. So
it was like the pinnacle of cable news, really. And I don't want to really experience that again.
And you couldn't even turn on the radio. Even the radio was live.
Everything. It was everything.
Except for Stern. You could turn on Stern.
Right. But even they would talk about OJ.
Even they was, look out.
Right. They got some good pranks out of it, good bits out of it. All right. Let's talk about, I watched Zack Snyder's Justice League. We finished it.
Okay. What did you think? Now I'm like awake again. I'm paying attention.
You're excited. So
I'm excited.
We watched it in the recommended parts, in the part dividers in keeping with Zack Snyder's original vision.
His artistic vision.
We watched it in parts, and I did find that that's a great way to watch these really long superhero movies. Because this one's 4 hours. That's obviously an extreme, but
like a wedding.
But not when you watch it 40 minutes at a time. It feels like a television series, any Netflix series.
Right.
And it worked out just fine like that. You never get bogged down in anything or think that it's too boring. It's just like, all right, there was a nice bit of action there, and we had some character developments, and then it was time to go to bed.
Right.
And that was fine. Like, we enjoyed it. I mean, there's a lot of posing in that movie where they're just like...
Don't you appreciate the 4x3?
Right. Is that why they needed 4x3 so we could see them really fully in frame posing? I mean,
yes.
That was a little silly. That's like
Watch Jack. Listen, no, stop yourself. I'm going to help you. I'm helping you. I'm here to help. I love you.
Watch what?
Stop yourself and look at some Jack Kirby, who is like...
They're posing.
A lot of, when people want to say godfather of like all of the modern DC and Marvel comics that we are so in love with, typically are from the Jack Kirby run of those comics.
The Golden Age.
Yeah, to a large degree, like X-Men. I think Jack Kirby might have been the creator of Darkseid and the New Gods and that whole area of comics. I believe he had left Marvel Comics and started with DC at the time, I think. And I think Marvel copied Darkseid's character into, who's the bad guy for Endgame? Thanos.
Mm-hmm. That's how I described Darkseid to Mrs. Cheapy. I said, "Oh yeah, this is the DC's Thanos."
But it isn't. It's Thanos. It isn't DC's Thanos. Thanos
DC's Galactus.
Thanos is Marvel's.
Darkseid.
Darkseid predates Thanos.
Okay, whatever. Who cares?
I believe. They'll correct me if I'm wrong. But my point is, if you look at Jack Kirby's art style, it's a lot of those like gladiator poses of the characters, larger than life, these super duper superheroes. And that's why in the film of the characters that he created, it will look more like that. What I love about this film is that it tricked people like yourselves to behave like super fans.
How's that?
That's what I love. You're watching a movie that came out 5 fucking years ago again.
That I watched already.
In days separate, and you're talking about it for like the 3rd or 4th time.
Right.
I'm the super fan who knows who Jack Kirby is.
I know who Jack Kirby is. How dare you? How dare you? Do I need to go get my box of comics?
You should get some type of proof. I mean, you're just bullshitting right now. No. You think I believe that?
You don't think?
I mean, that was, listen, your review of the movie before was whack. You had to up your game. You felt bad.
What review of the movie?
You came out with a hot take about how I ain't gonna watch that. Oh, nah, that shit bullshit.
As soon as I heard, as soon as I heard that they cut it down into parts for viewing, for bite-sized viewing, like one does on Netflix and all these other streaming services, I was like, I can sell this. I can fit this into my lifestyle with my family. And I appreciate that they did that. It's like, it's a quality of life issue.
Slow down, son.
What?
I told you to watch it in pieces. I think I told you on this show.
Yeah. So
no, don't even talk. It's again, all that rah, son. I mean, come on.
So I did it. You convinced me. And what are you saying? You're saying that I don't understand what the point is.
Point is,
yes,
the 4x3 was necessary. Please continue.
No, that was distracting. We liked it. The 4x3 was fun. You get used to the 4x3. I would like to watch. To tell you the truth, I would like to watch those 2.5 hour Marvel movies like this, like in 40-minute chunks. because I get bored. I just don't want to sit there for that long. I find it much more enjoyable this way, and I can think about it a little bit between segments if I want.
Right.
I don't know. I like it. I like this format better.
I have to agree with you. I think, again, Marvel was the first to trick you into behaving like a super fan with the whole Infinity War, Phase 1, all these nonsense.
Yes.
They got you watching. Do you remember Falcon and the Winter Soldier? That's how far they've entrenched you. And now you're like struggling to fit yourself into this mold that doesn't really fit you because you're not a super fan.
Right.
Do you remember Falcon and the Winter Soldier's comedic interactions in Captain America: Civil War?
I actually do, because I remember they were in a car together, right? And he wouldn't put the seat back. But if we're gonna,
do you remember anything else out of that?
No, but
exactly. That is the premise of that show, and you're still watching it because, like a super fan like me, they got you roped in, bro. Do you remember the Animatrix?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you watch the Animatrix?
Because I liked the Matrix, and it was more Matrix.
Exactly, but you were a big fan of the Matrix. I think that they got you.
I agree.
They're working their magic on you.
Of course they are. But let's talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I watched I didn't watch today's. Okay. I didn't watch the third episode, but we watched the second episode.
Right.
Not the one that came out today.
I watched the one today, so you could just take your headphones out. Okay.
No. So, what did you think? Did you? I mean, we didn't really like the second episode in this household. We all sort of were like looking at each other throughout the episode, they were trying to come up with that humor from whichever was Civil War.
Right.
And it's like, was so forced. Like they're just like, all right, we're just going to make up a scene that doesn't really belong here because we want to make an awkward situation where these guys have to touch knees together. Like, oh, why don't you just make Falcon sit on Winter Soldier's lap at this point? Like, it's just really awkward. It wouldn't have been any more or less awkward. And we're just like, why is this happening? And the whole, I don't know.
Do you want me to get like deep in it? Should I get deep?
Yes, I do. Yeah, please get deep. Please excuse this. I want to hear how that scene made any sense and why they touching knees together. Yes. Like why these two grown men would actually do that.
Yes. My name is Dr. Kurimanju. Please take a seat.
I'm sitting already. Thank you.
You could lie down if you'd like. It would make you more comfortable. So when they're the way you want to look at this is, Bucky is Cap buddy number 1.
Yes.
Winter Soldier, Falcon is Cap buddy number 2. Bucky was dead when Winter Soldier was Cap buddy number 2. And then Bucky came back to life.
Yep.
I got remarried, so I got another.
Right, they're like Wombat said on the CADcast, they're basically just battling to be Captain America's best friend. But
not battling. They're not battling.
But they are battling.
But they're not battling to be his best friend. They both are they are true believers in Cap in a good way, a positive way. So they think other people who believe in Cap are good people. They are not vying for Cap's respect. You watch those films. They do not vie in that sense.
Okay.
They see themselves as just important to Cap, but they don't distrust Cap's trust of them.
Okay.
They are actually guys who are grieving together about Cap. They're grieving their loss of this man that they had so much love for. So in the therapy session, they're misdirecting their grief into anger at each other because it's too hard to recognize how hurt they both are. But they can also support each other.
I wish you wrote this fucking TV show because you would have done a much better job than this guy, this white guy that they hired.
Don't hate on white people. I love white people.
Yeah.
Some of my best friends are white.
What about
I've always wanted to say that. I've always wanted to be that guy who said, no, I'm not racist. Some of my best friends are white.
Even after the Black Falcon joke?
That was so weak. I wanted to save you guys, but I didn't. You muted my chat already like 4 times. So I was like, okay.
That didn't happen.
I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I felt bad for you guys. That was kind of weak. Do you want to do it over?
What do you mean?
The joke was so weak.
It was weak. No, that was from the TV show. We said it was weak.
Okay. No. So the reason, in my opinion, okay.
Yes.
Because I could go on about.
I just felt like we felt like me and Shipwreck felt this way also, that the first episode and the second episode seemed very different from each other in terms of the tone and the writing.
Yes.
That's
different
all.
acts. So this is This is an Animatrix.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They tricked you into thinking this is normal. The Animatrix was the first time I ever saw that, and that was more than 20 years ago, right? When they had an intercedent small film, a bunch of short films to maintain your interest because there was a writing strike or something. There was some type of extended gap between episode 2 and 3 of the Matrix films, I believe. And they put out this thing. They did something similar for Chronicles of Riddick. They, between the first episode, the film, they put out some type of animated short film in between that and the second episode. Sometimes I believe it's strategic, especially with some of these studios that have the assets, like different comic book characters to put out there. You know, an example of that, in my opinion, is Marvel with the Deep film that was supposed to be about the trench in Aquaman's universe that was canceled, and there is a film called the is that DC? That's DC actually, not Aquaman. Aquaman is DC. So I'm sorry. They canceled the Deep film for DC, and they also canceled the film The New Gods, which is about Darkseid's world. So those two films were, I think, to hold people's interest while they tried to figure out the whole Zack Snyder situation. Now that they got him, they're like, you know what? People really liked his Darkseid. We don't need you guys. Cancel. You know, because it can maintain that audience to the next big thing. And I think they have you watching The Winter Soldier in that fashion, but your excitement level about Captain America's series of films in Marvel isn't as big as mine. I can tell you that from just looking at you right now. And then second,
I like those movies. I thought those were like some of the best MCU movies. The Captain
were you
American
as
ones.
psyched about that? Like, did you watch it like 3 times? Have you watched it more than once?
Yeah, probably.
Really?
I'm not on your level, but I watched Civil War probably twice. Or
okay.
Yeah,
well, that's good to know. I thought I was on an island in the superhero fandom. But the thing is, I was just gonna say, I think that Falcon and the Winter Soldier would be the opposite of what you're talking about with Snyder. If you watched it as a film, I think you would enjoy the flow a lot better. I think.
Oh, really?
You don't need to dig into those characters too deep, I don't think. At your level, I'm saying, I don't think you're that interested in learning all these intros. You just want to watch an action film in that universe.
I just feel like in this episode, they wanted to take the Falcon and Winter Soldier car scene, which was like 5 seconds, maybe, and make that into like 3 minutes, which is not a good idea. Yeah, just maybe if that was just like one thing where they accidentally like touched each other weird, like, and then they just moved on.
You
like
were
scene
so
ended.
Fixated on these knees touching. Have you never touched a man's knees?
I'm doing it right now. But it just was weird. It made me. I don't know. We'll see how the third episode goes.
Well, I like it. I think it's not that deep, but I think they're doing their best to set up this whole new phase of Marvel heroes for their films and stuff, and the Wanda, Doctor Strange.
Sure,
stuff.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah. I like it though. I find it entertaining. I have less demands. I don't need that much from it. Maybe that's it.
Maybe
I really don't expect much.
I enjoy critiquing it.
And I like that it's about everybody it's really about what happened to the people who were in the blip. Everything we've seen has been about everybody who was alive during the blip. That's what we experience as fans of viewers of the Marvel universe. Right. Now we're seeing what happened, the plight of the blipped.
Yes.
Because as you see you probably don't even know this, do you? Fan, let's see. Let's test you.
Yeah, test me.
Who's the big baddie? At least so far in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh. It's
you could describe it by looks. That's
the guy with the mask who could kick people really far.
Okay. All right. Flag Smasher. That character, do you know whether that character was there during the blip or not during the blip?
I would not know that. That sounds like something I shouldn't know. You know? How do you know?
I'm not going to tell. I'm not spoiling for everybody.
Well, do you know?
Yes.
How do you know?
I'm Kuriman.
Nice.
That was really lame. Is there more outline, or did you just have a brain fart?
No. I'm moving on to the next thing. Let's talk about Godzilla versus King Kong.
Ooh, that was good.
I watched half of it.
Okay, what did you think?
The parts where the monsters are on screen and punching each other,
right? That's
pretty good. And like when my whole room is shaking from the bass,
yeah,
I like that. But once the people start talking to each other, the whole thing falls apart. Like every line of dialogue is not good for the most part.
It's like so paper thin. Yeah. Well, you're in trouble when the main character of the movie is a computer graphics creation. That's a tough place to start with, and when they can't talk, you got 2 strikes on you.
Right. That is a problem. I didn't like it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we'll probably watch this. We only watched the first half. We'll probably watch the second half. Just
are you a King Kong Godzilla person?
Not particularly.
That's the thing. You gotta like this stuff, man. I mean, you're watching movies that you're not. Are you doing it to be able to comment? Because I feel like sometimes you might be torturing yourself. Because
I'm not torturing myself, but it is just weird when you hear like scientists talk about like what King Kong wants to do and like it just sounds weird to me.
Yeah,
they're trying to make it sound like science, but it's just like they don't sound. Nothing about these people sound like scientists. They're talking about how, like, in a completely natural way. They're like, oh yeah, of course, Godzilla and King Kong are natural enemies, and they're drawn to each other, and they will always be fighting, and that's just how. It's like there's gravity and there's that. Like, it's just weird.
Godzilla won't stop until he's the last kaiju. You don't know that?
It's fun. I mean, like, I get it. It's supposed to be just fun, and you're not supposed to think. But it's fun. But every time that people start talking, your mind starts to wander because there's no monsters fighting, and then you're like, this just doesn't make a lot of sense necessarily.
That's when you turn the vacuum cleaner back on, and you finish this corner of the room, and then King Kong comes back on the screen, and you turn back. You're like, okay, he's hitting that guy. Cool. Oh, that's cool. And then you, I think I answered email and scheduled my next week while I watched it. But I love the hell of it. I was like, man, I wish I could watch this in the theater. Although I probably would get bored during the dialogue. But it's like they spent a lot of money on great actors to have them say nothing. And like, just remember, everybody has bills. Some people just need to pay the bills.
No judgments for Alexander Skarsgård. I mean, I'm sure he needs to work. Everybody needs to work. It is
the money ain't paying like those True Blood days, bro.
Right. Well, I don't know, actually. He probably didn't make that much money on you. Well, maybe towards the end, he probably could cash in.
Yeah, I don't know.
Once it got super popular.
Once it got, yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, maybe those Godzilla movies aren't just for me. I never really watched one before.
If you look at it like a discussion on nuclear energy in Japan, I guess you could see more to it because that's what it was about,
Right.
And nature being in the version of Godzilla stopping us from creating powers we can't control in terms of nuclear power and stuff, and waste and toxic waste. But
yeah, this is not about that. I don't think that's about that anymore. Now it's about Godzilla is hurting people and we don't know why.
Right. Yeah, and they do like Marvel or DC type fan service references to those beginnings, but now it's just 10 minutes of blab talk and then bigger explosion. But I liked watching them look large. I wish I could have seen like an IMAX or something because I like watching the big like Rampage style.
I saw
destroyed.
I saw an ad for Godzilla versus King Kong saying that you can rent out a private screening at your local theater.
How do you do that? How much?
There was a website. There was nothing available by me. They weren't doing it anywhere by me, but I don't know what the situation is by you.
Uh-huh.
I doubt that many people are going to the movies right now. So how much are they really going to charge? Like, I feel like, and you might be able to get a decent deal.
I don't know if it's that. I would probably hate myself by the end of it. Like, I can't sit there and watch that by myself. Like, I need to be. This has got to be like the
invite some friends.
I like to do a double matinee. I never really did this, but I like to do a double matinee, and like you do the first film, and then you slip into the second film on your way out. And that's always fun for Godzilla versus Kong. This is perfect for a double matinee day.
You could work something out with the film owner, the theater owner. I'm sure they're looking for money. I mean, we have a theater in our town. It's an independent theater, and they've been closed for over a year. And let me tell you something. When they were open, they were not like you wouldn't necessarily have known that they were open. So I can't even imagine like what the finances are like there now.
I know.
So I'm sure I could get a good deal over there.
They need to find Hollow Earth, get a new energy source.
Yeah, when they started talking about Hollow Earth, like, of course you should know about Hollow Earth, and that's where the kaiju were born.
You're not familiar with the Hollow Earth theory?
Obviously, we can. And by the way, we can just go there. Like now, did you know? Not only is there it's just like a room in the middle of the planet where kaiju are birthed, but we can just go. Like,
get on my heave.
Let's just
get
go.
on my heave.
Right.
Don't call it a helicopter. Call it a heave.
And
what?
Right. And King Kong will take us there.
What if he doesn't want to go?
Oh, he'll want to go, or no bananas for him.
No bananas. But they did get to the fights quick, which I found satisfying.
I found it satisfying when King Kong scratched his ass in the first 3 minutes of the movie. I knew like something was not going to be great when King Kong scratched his ass so early in the movie.
Dude, you mentioned Wombat. You said, did you see his tweet that he said that it wasn't good because it wasn't played by some an actor that did the figure?
Oh
mapping?
no, I didn't see that. He didn't he didn't like the CG work on King Kong. He thought it was too robotic.
That's what he seemed to be indicating. I wonder how he felt about the ass scratch.
I felt like immediately they send the message that we're not taking this subject matter seriously. Like,
I scratched my ass with your Godzilla.
Right.
Kong.
That's exactly. It was like before the credits roll. I mean, the opening credits, like he's scratching his ass. Like that's not serious. I feel like, but maybe like that's how King Kong movies are. Like, is he like? I don't think so though. I don't think he's like a jokey guy, like jokey character, a jokey monster. I think he's all business.
Yeah, I mean, those movies, don't listen to the dialogue. Watch the explosions. Maybe there'll be a gem like in like a Terminator style, like that's Terminator, right? I'll be back.
Yes.
Or Predator. I'm here. Kill me now. Kill me now.
Right.
I'm here. Otherwise, don't listen to anything they say. Just watch the explosions.
Right. I hear you. We also watched one last thing for what we're watching. I checked out the first episode of Invincible on Amazon Prime.
Dude, that's awesome. I love it. What did you think?
I was glad that I didn't let Ty watch the first episode.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's a little disturbing. Obviously, we all know that the ending is disturbing. Because while we're watching it, Mrs. Cheapy's like, this is not bad at all. Like, I think Ty could watch this. And I said, I think that we're headed somewhere that's not going to be so great for a 13-year-old. And sure enough, it ended with a bang. So I think we'll keep watching to see where it goes. I'm pretty interested in the show, and I will tell Ty to wait a little while before watching it.
Yeah, I was borderline. I can't, you gotta. I think there are 13-year-olds who can handle that.
He might be able to handle it.
Who are reading those comics, I mean. Because a lot of kids, at least for me, I was exposed to that stuff in comics earlier, than I saw it on TV too. So nowadays that these comics are being in, like Akira was pretty gruesome, but it didn't horrify me in a way that it would have if I saw it live action.
Right.
Although I think they were working on that at some point. But
a live action one, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, my point is, it depends on the kid. Some kids are kind of desensitized to that nowadays, and some are like scarred for life, like you and me, for seeing stuff too young.
I think I didn't see stuff too young. I was well parented. I wasn't even allowed to watch Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, really?
I mean, I did anyway, but I was asked not to watch it.
That explains the Confederate flag.
Yeehaw!
If you're looking for his vanity,
I will say that I never lusted after the General Lee. Like that, I never dreamed about having that car. Like I dreamed about having Kit from Knight Rider.
Yeah, oh fuck yeah.
The Gadget Mobile from Inspector Gadget. I feel like I dreamed about that the most, probably even more than Kit. But I don't know. I watched Dukes of Hazzard, but I didn't relate to it in any way, and I certainly didn't want to be in any of those situations.
But wait. What about what's his name? Hootie and the Bandit? What's it?
Smokey and the Bandit?
Smokey and the Bandit.
I like the TV show. I mean, I like the movie. I like Hootie and the Blowfish. I didn't like Hootie and the Blowfish. I liked Smokey and the Bandit movies, but
not the car?
The Trans Am was fine, but it didn't do anything special. It was just the Trans Am.
Dude, my brother had a Firebird with the gigantic Firebird on the hood.
The flame.
And the two window, the roof.
The T-top. The T-top.
Oh, it was so he used to drive me to school in it. It was so cool.
But it's such a shitty car, though.
Yes, it smelled like a burning gasoline refinery.
You can just smell burn. It probably smelled like burning oil because it had like a big V8 engine. They basically like had the technology to figure out how to put it all together, but like don't look for any refinement or like quality. It's just like, hey, we figured out how to put a big engine in a car and it can go.
It can go. Just don't breathe around it. I mean, basically, you would just cut up pieces of plastic and light it on fire inside of the engine, and that's kind of how you propelled yourself.
That's what it smelled like, probably.
Yes.
But no, I didn't.
It was so cool to see it. Like, you felt like the cool kid because this big Firebird drives up.
No, those are like FragTube in the chat brings up Magnum PI's Ferrari. I didn't watch Magnum PI. Wasn't into that show at all, so I didn't really care.
I liked seeing the car in the beginning, and then I would tune out around the shorts.
Yes, I was just gonna say he looked weird in the shorts in the intro, and I was like, I don't know about this guy.
But did you ever do track?
No.
I'm old enough that they used to make us. I did track at a time when we still had to wear those shorts, and then they switched over to the more human-looking shorts, where like when they were finding more of these pedophiles as gym teachers, they started changing the
shorts got bigger.
The shorts got longer, and they would actually cover balls, sack, and penis.
Not in Japan. They haven't changed that in Japan. No joke. Like I would see. It's really disturbing. You would be on the street, and all the Japanese kids have to wear uniforms, and all the schools have their own uniforms. And sometimes, like, it would be April, and there's like a kid wearing like the shortest shorts, and they're dress shorts. So they're like, imagine like slacks, dress pants, but in the shortest short form, and he's wearing like a sport jacket with that. And you just look into the kid next to you, and he's like this is a crime. I feel like this is a crime right here. Like that you're forcing this kid to into this situation, but that's it. It's normal in Japan.
We need to start lobbying the Japanese government. They need to modernize in a couple of areas. Let's lead the green charge.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement in Japan. I mean, Japan does a lot of things right, but there's also a lot of improvements that could be made.
Correct, my friend.
Got to stop those earthquakes. That's probably number one.
Tell Godzilla that.
Have you watched the rest of Invincible? Are you up to date?
Yeah, I really like it. I like it that it takes
no spoilers. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I only watched one episode also, so.
Yeah, no spoilers, because I want you all to enjoy it and take my recommendation with peace and love. I think it's a fantastic take on the superhero idea. It gives us a different way, a different perspective to experience it without losing the fantastic fun part of doing crazy acts of feats of strength and power. So that's, I like it when it gives you that mass appeal, like great explosions, great powers, costumes, and gives you a new story. So that makes it interesting to me. Because in the beginning, I was watching and it felt like very derivative, as you obviously can see in the first couple of seconds.
That's the trick.
There's many tricks. No
spoilers. Cool. I love tricks.
No spoilers.
Do we get any cartoon nudity in this? Sex and nudity?
I don't remember any sex. I don't think there's any. There's like teenage level, because our titular character is a teenager. Ooh. So we experience life from his perspective, is what I'd say.
Does he get a super erection?
No spoilers.
Goes through his pants? Rips his pants?
I can confirm nor deny.
My penis.
I cannot.
The molecules in my penis are incredibly dense, and no earth fabric can contain me.
They are charged by photons of a yellow sun.
All right, we're probably gonna keep watching that. I was surprised that they were 45 minutes each episode, but I'm not disappointed. That's fine. Yeah,
and I'm happy with the voice acting. The lead character is who? I forget his name. He's from The Walking Dead. Steve Young.
Something like that.
Asian
American, perhaps?
Yes, correct. His father, Omni-Man, is played by J. Jonah Jameson / what's his name? I don't remember his name.
J.K. Simmons.
I love that guy. I loved him on everything. Even back when he was just doing a dispassionate, who gives a shit psychoanalyst reference on Law and Order. He was a star witness for the prosecution.
Sure.
And he'd have 3 seconds. I was like, that guy's awesome. And I like seeing him. I liked him in that great film about band music. Do you remember that? Drumming. It's about a
Oh
drummer.
yes. It's called. I know. He won an Oscar for that, didn't he?
Now. Yeah, that was great. Actually,
Whiplash. Thanks, Shanafan. Thank you, Shanafan.
Fantasia, Shanafan. What's up, man? That's a great film. That guy's a great actor. So it's a great series. Definitely watch it. Great voice acting, and the animation, I also give it super thumbs up.
Yeah, it's good.
The little pieces that make it stand out, like the effort, like tracking eyeballs and things that other cartoons will take for granted.
Tracking eyeballs has a lot of different meanings in this show.
You know.
Sometimes
no spoilers.
Sometimes attached to somebody's face, sometimes not.
No spoilers.
All right, let's wrap things up because I gotta take Ty to where he needs to go.
Yes.
And we've just run out of things to talk about. So let's remind everybody to follow us on Twitter at ProperModPod.
At ProperModPod.
And come watch us on Twitch at 3:00 Eastern Time on Fridays.
Yes.
Because it's fun.
It's fun. It's educational. It's important.
Yes. And until next week, we'll see you next week.
Peace.